Kudko.
I'm Janis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
And welcome back to the Game to Love podcast. And we're here after what was quite an epic display from the King of Clay. Rafael Nadal wins his 13th Roland Garros title there against Novak Djokovic. And wow, in impressive fashion. I was pretty blown away by his performance and sort of underwhelmed by Djokovic's performance in the final.
Yeah, well, I think the best place to start is what a few weeks we've had. We've been covering all of the French Open as best as we can. There's been some crazy matches, some brilliant results for younger players. But really, what we saw in the end was Djokovic in the final and Nadal in the final. And did the final live up to what I expected it to be? I'd say no. I don't think it did. It wasn't the amazing final I was waiting to see. However, you could look at it the fact that on a Nadal perspective, it literally was that amazing final because he was pretty faultless. I think the first set, he made 2 unforced errors. The second set, it was 1 unforced error.
Yeah.
The guy was just on another level and he wasn't making any mistakes. Djokovic has since come out and praised Nadal, really, saying when he plays like this, he's unstoppable, unbeatable. And that's exactly what he was today.
You would have to agree, wouldn't you? And there's not really more words that he could say, really, other than the fact that Nadal was definitely the deserving winner of that final. And it's just a shame for Djokovic to go all the way through all of that pressure and pain and all of the trials and tribulations of the last 2 weeks getting to that final, only for it to be over. I know it was 3 hours, but it was pretty feebly in the end, and so many unforced errors, 52 unforced errors from Novak Djokovic, and that's just unheard of, isn't it?
Well, I think I don't want to focus too much on Novak being bad. I think it was a case of Rafael Nadal was that good. I think any other player on tour, we said it live on the live watch along, any player he would have played in this final, I think it would have been the same outcome. And the way he come out, I was watching the highlights actually, because when we're doing the live watch along, it's easy to miss certain points in the match. Obviously, there's a lot going on, like talking to everyone. So I just sat in some silence, watched the highlights, and in the second set, there was a point, I think Nadal was up 4-1 or so. Yeah. Some of the shots he played there is some of the best I've ever seen from him, really, at Roland Garros. It was incredible. He was just getting to everything. At every point, he was taking control of, and he just was so dominant. And it's a brilliant achievement now because obviously that's his 13th Roland Garros. It means he's got a record there of 100 wins with only the 2 losses. And, of course, 20 Grand Slams equaling Roger Federer.
Well, that's it. And he just wouldn't let Djokovic out of a game, would he? He just locked him into a juice. And, and that first set bageled Djokovic. And that was just a sign of things to come, wasn't it? And Djokovic didn't know what to do. He was throwing everything at Nadal, but if you can't win 4 points on a game, then you can't get the game. And that was the one thing he was struggling with. And Nadal was just pinning him back on every time. And he'd just get into that juice, but he couldn't get it over the line every time. And just when he finally started to look like he was into the match, another break, and then Nadal was serving for the match, wasn't he? And that was pretty much the end of that.
Yeah, I think a big thing what I want to talk about, though, is Djokovic came out afterwards and said he was surprised. He was surprised how well Nadal played. I don't know. I find that a bit weird. Like, why are you surprised? Granted, you could say the conditions, the roof being closed, everything was in favour of Novak in this final, in my opinion. Before the tournament, he was hitting it at, I think it was 10 kilometres an hour, 10 miles an hour, less powerful than what he usually does on average at Roland Garros. Everything was stacked against Rafael Nadal. The balls, heavier balls. The ball was not bouncing so high. And the weather, it was so cold. That's the big one, of course. It was so cold. And all these factors, people writing off Nadal, saying, I'm not sure if he can do it. He's just proved everyone wrong. And if he can do it in this tournament this year, he's going to do it until he's maybe 60 years old. I know there was a famous quote by someone, I forget who it was now, and they said Rafael Nadal will win Roland Garros until he's 60. Mate, based on what I saw today, I think it's possible.
You wouldn't put it past him, would you? Even at least making the semis or something like that. But I think it's a bit crazy now because obviously Roland Garros isn't that far away from happening again, really. Because if they go back to the normal slot, which is, when is that, around about May or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, we're already in October. So not long, another 7 months, and we'll have Roland Garros again is that going to be number 14 for Rafael Nadal? Why not?
Well, of course, yeah. We'll have to see what happens, obviously, with COVID. The next slam on the list now is obviously in Australia. And you just got to fancy Djokovic still for the favourite to be there. Be interesting to know if Roger Federer is back for that. What do you think?
Interesting. Might be too soon for him, but we haven't really had any updates on his injury, have we? And his recovery from the knee surgery. But as soon as we hear something, we'll let everybody know. But at the moment, I guess it's just a bit of hearsay. You just got to wait and see what gets posted by Roger himself. I'm sure he'll let everyone know which tournaments he'll be entering. So,
well, it was nice that he come up today and congratulated Rafael Nadal. There's a nice touch. Obviously, they're both on 20 Grand Slams now. He was talking about how he's a good friend, obviously a massive rival as well. But it was super pleased for him. So that's nice to see, isn't it?
Well, that's it. The Federal bromance partnership continues. So, yeah, it's always nice to see when you've got two very, very big rivals. And Rafa's sort of dominated these later years, I'd say, of Roger's career. But his main rival has been Novak for the past few years. But you see what happened today. I think it's a different story, obviously, if you get onto the hard court. And obviously another story if you get onto the grass courts as well, where Djokovic looks super strong. But
I don't know, though. The thing with Nadal, I always say this, though. This is my problem. Every Roland Garros I watch him, he's so impressive. I then always think, I think he's going to win Wimbledon this year. And then he can never really replicate that form on the grass. And it's just me being naive, really, every year. It's the same thing. I just watch him at Roland Garros and think, surely, can't you just replicate that? It's only a different surface. Just do it again, mate. We know how you can play, but it's a lot harder than that, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it skips off that turf very, very quick. And, he likes a little bit of time to slide around on that baseline. And today he was, incredible against Djokovic. And Djokovic had to hit the lines over and over to even get 1 point. And
Djokovic actually did make some crazy points in the match, to be fair to him, but it just wasn't enough. And yet again, we're here talking about Rafael Nadal going all the way, winning a Roland Garros without dropping a set. It's happened again. How many times is it going to happen? He's just so dominant. And I think you said it before. How many games did he lose?
I think it's 53 in the whole tournament.
53, including the final. So it's remarkable, really. And then it probably leads quite nicely, really, onto the women's side. Obviously, we had Iga Swiatek from Poland, the 19-year-old. Her first title, not even a major, just anything, really. She's not really won nothing notable, really. And she's there in a Grand Slam and winning it. Yeah. And that was a crazy performance against Kenin. She obliterated her.
I think she only had 7 ITF wins before that. So that just puts it into perspective. She's skipped the WTA standard and just gone straight for Grand Slams. So she wasn't hanging around, was she? But she's definitely got the full package. And she was like we were saying the whole tournament, she was like the female Rafa, wasn't she? This like last 2 weeks, the way she was hitting the ball, she was dominant, and there was no one even came close. There wasn't even. Did she even drop a set? I don't think she even dropped a set.
Didn't drop a set, and only dropped 28 games, which is the second best of all time, beating Serena Williams' record, I believe.
Steffi Graf, wasn't it?
No, Steph. No,
Oh,
Steffi Graf's the only one who's beaten her. She's number one.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's number one. I think. Swiatek's number two, and then there's a few around, and Serena Williams is there. But it's just a crazy achievement, and she's like you say, no one come close to her. We thought Halep was going to be able to beat her for that experience, and she breezed past her 6-1, 6-2 in 45 minutes. So, like you said, only won 7 ITFs, but I think now it's not crazy to think that she's going to be winning more Grand Slams, right? She's definitely got it again. Like, I think her overall game is so good. I'll be shocked if we don't see her win another Grand Slam soon. Or not even that. I'm sure we'll see her in Masters tournaments, get into finals, semi-finals. And the only way is up really for her. Like I say, 19 years old. So
you've always got all the naysayers, haven't you? You've really got to achieve it one more time to stop everyone claiming fluke or claiming that you just played out your skin for one tournament. That's why you really got to prove it to everybody that you can just do it again. And if we can see another great performance from her at next year's Roland Garros, or even sooner, maybe the Australian Open, maybe she can translate that to the hard courts. But she's such a bright prospect for the women's game and refreshing. Like to see a 19-year-old teenager winning a Grand Slam. It's just really refreshing to see in the modern day of tennis. Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm fitting with that narrative. Obviously, we should mention the finalist, Sofia Kenin. She's won a Grand Slam, of course, only 21 years old, 2 years older. It's not much in it at all. And I think it's unfair to say that was a fluke for her in Australia. I think she was really dominant then and surprised us massively in this tournament, considering a few weeks before she got double bageled by Azarenka, 6-love in Rome. So what a turnaround for her. And what do you reckon about her? What do you think of her chances to win some tournaments in the coming months and years? Yeah.
Well, she's definitely going to be there or thereabouts in and around these semi-finals and finals, I think, for the coming years. But she's just, I reckon, probably more on the hard courts. I was shocked to see her get this far on clay. She just did so well. I underestimated her abilities on clay.
Yeah, me too.
And she really shocked me. So I was really pleasantly surprised that she has the clay court game too. But yeah, it's not as good as Swiatek's yet. And it's going to be hard for anyone to get close to Swiatek. Be interesting if we see some of the people who didn't make the tournament and who she plays, like an Ashley Barty, people like that, and how she does against someone like that.
Andreescu too. That would be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, Naomi Osaka wasn't here. That's a big name.
Yep. That's a huge name, the biggest name in the women's game right now. So obviously US Open champion as well. So yeah, we've just had some very exciting not new champion, but it was nice to see. It's refreshing to see some different people winning Grand Slams. And
mate, would you not say the women's tour right now is super exciting? You've got the likes of like a Rybakina as well, someone we don't even mention. She's got bags of potential, and we reckon that she could certainly be up there. You've got young people like Leonie Kang, obviously Leylah Fernandez, another really good player.
So good.
Receiving a lot of plaudits from a lot of ex-professionals.
And don't forget some of those other youngsters that were coming through that draw as well. I know that you were singing the praises of some young Italians in there as well. And all the Italians, actually. The Italians just had a great tournament all round in the French Open. So well done to them. There's some great players to look out for on the Italian scene.
Well, yeah, I'll give a shout out to Yannick Sinner straight off the bat after that, because I thought he was brilliant in this whole tournament. Bit unlucky, really, to be facing Rafael Nadal in the form he was. But in theory, he'd probably come closest to taking a set. Would you not say?
Yeah, him and Schwartzman's efforts didn't look too bad now after that final, did they? We thought maybe, straight sets and close to getting a set and having these sort of break points in and around the end of the set. That actually looks like a very good effort. So Djokovic...
He was watching that final today thinking, I didn't do too bad at all.
And there you go. And then early in those earlier rounds, you're probably looking at someone like Travaglia. He probably did as well as Djokovic, to be fair. So that's pretty crazy at the end of it to see what Rafael Nadal can do to the best in the world. But yeah, crazy tournament, crazy result. Don't think anyone expected it. But we've got some great things to take away from the tournament. We've just had some amazing youngsters who have really shone, and let's promise him for the future. And that's the main thing.
Yeah,
to
we've had
take
that
away.
side of it, and then we've also had the more older, experienced guys like Rafael Nadal, just showing us how good they still can be. If not, is he at his best? I don't know. I think that's probably. I don't think he is, but you can't put it past him because for me, Novak Djokovic, the way he's been playing, is close to his best, and Rafael Nadal today was exceptional. And for me, I would put that as one of his best ever performances at Roland Garros in the final.
It was amazing. I mean, it begs the question, if Tsitsipas hadn't got the cramp and maybe managed to get through in 5 against Djokovic, would he put up a better test against Nadal? It's hard to. I don't think so, but
I don't think so, man.
You never know, do you? Because different styles make different matches. But it would have been interesting to see somebody else at least give Rafa a go rather than just the standard Djokovic. But we thought Djokovic might be able to do it.
Mate, you say the standard Djokovic. This is Djokovic who hasn't lost a game until obviously get to 40 against Buster. But take that out of the question. He's won everything.
Yeah, but
so this is not just a standard Djokovic. This guy is incredible.
I mean the standard final versus
yeah,
Novak
of course.
Djokovic.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
but
anyway, mate, let's get on to the other tennis because the French Open was brilliant, but there's no rest for us, and we're moving straight on now. And there's quite a few tasty ATP tournaments going on.
There is indeed.
I think they're going on right now. I believe there's qualifying going on for the last few days.
Yes.
Most of them are starting tomorrow, I believe, Monday.
Yeah, we have some
or
main
today. I think we're posting it today. So
yeah. So we had some qualifiers on the Sunday, and the Monday is the main draw, I believe. If I can pull up, we've got Cologne, which is starting. We go through that one first. There's 3 ATP events starting.
Yeah.
And as you can see here, we've got some interesting, and this is an indoor hard tournament, which is interesting. You've got Struff there versus Otti, Millman Misha Zverev, Radu Albot, your mate. He's in there.
Mate, I don't give him much chance against Herbert, especially the way he played against Zverev. And I think Zverev's in this tournament as well. He's the number 1 seed. So you'd fancy him to go all the way and win it.
For sure.
Maybe we can give our picks now. Do you have your picks?
I haven't got my pick, but I was going to bring up the draw as well. If we
bring that up.
Let me just. Oh, hang on, bear with me.
Sorry, I've got the draw here anyway. I've got it on my phone.
Oh, have you? Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I can just stop sharing that and share the actual draw, and then that way it looks a bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, there's some big names in it. You've got obviously Batista Agut, he's the 2nd seed. You've got Martin Fucsovic, could cause a bit of a threat. Obviously, our main man, Ruth Savori, but he's got a really tough first match against Davidovich Fokina. That's certainly not going to be easy.
Don't forget the big match of that first round, Andy Murray with the wild card there, and surprisingly a favourite against Fernando Verdasco, which, well, for me...
I don't know, Verdasco's not played, man. I've not seen Verdasco since COVID at all.
It's not an easy match for anyone, though, Verdasco. And Murray's had some epic matches against him in the past, and I think that'll be a really tough match for Murray to come through there. And if he does, he's going to face Zverev again.
He's beaten Zverev, didn't he?
Like in the Cincinnati, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He beat him. So, yeah, was it Cincinnati? It was Cincinnati. Or Southern,
I think so, yeah.
Western Southern, it was called. That was it, the Western Southern.
Western and Southern Open.
Yeah, but we got another British guy in there. We got Kyle Edmund. He's up against Lloyd Harris in the first round. And then big Steve Johnson. He's hoping to come back from his last match, which was, well, feebly went out, didn't he? But how many did he get double bageled? And I think it was 6-1, 6-1, 6-love or something in his match.
Mate, it was terrible, wasn't it?
His last match. I can't remember who he was playing now. Was it Tobias Boehner? Yeah, it was.
I think
Tobias
so, yeah.
Boehner.
Yeah.
6-1, 6-1, 6-love. There you go. I remember that. And he's up against Krajinovic, and that's not no easy one, is it?
Well, I think you set me up nicely. I might as well go straight for it. So Krajinovic is my pick actually to win the tournament. I fancy him to go all the way and win. Just looking at the draw there, I don't think Steve Johnson's going to trouble him at all. The main reason is this is on hard, isn't it?
Yes.
So maybe I need to change my thought pattern. I was thinking this is a clay court. I just lost my marbles for a sec. I'll stick with Krajinovic. I think he can still beat Steve Johnson. I think he's a very versatile player. probably better on hard anyway. The problem is it's going to be quite tough against Steve Johnson there, but I think he'll come through it.
Should do.
Yeah, obviously he's going to be potentially playing Zverev. I think that's in the quarters or the semis.
Yeah,
quarterfinals. So for me, it's a tough draw, but I know he's capable of it, and I've seen some really big performance from him of late.
Yeah,
and I think that's going to be enough.
Well, we'll keep going down. We see Benoit Paires made it into another event here. He's fourth seed.
Mate, he got a bye.
Yeah, he's got a bye in the first round, and he could face either Jordan Thompson or Dennis Novak. I'm not really sure which way that's going to go, to be honest. I would probably go shy towards Thompson. But yeah, obviously we've got this one. These two youngsters who are incredible, Davidovich Fokina and Rusevori. That's no easy match to start either of their campaigns.
Yeah.
And they'll be coming up, and that's another tough match in the next round. Cilic versus Berankis. That's really
a tough
interesting
draw as well early on.
Yeah. And then we got Struff Otti. I expect Struff to win that. I got Herbert. You never know with Albot. He could pull something, but
he won't pull off anything. I think Herbert will beat him in straight sets.
And this is interesting.
Yeah, obviously Laxton, we've had him on the podcast, and Altmaier.
That's tough.
Yeah, I can't call it. Felix is another one maybe who could have a good run in this tournament. Just watch out for Felix.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not been playing great of late, but obviously we've had a lot of clay court tournaments. He's not really been doing it too well. Even in the US Open, he was slightly disappointing, to be fair. But you never know. We know how good he can be, so we might turn it up.
Really like this match, even though it's a lucky loser for Mark Polmans. He's playing Hubert Hurkacz, which is really a great matchup.
Yeah, and then obviously the two big names at the bottom for me is Fucsovics and Agut.
Yep. There you go. We're playing Jules Simon. Never easy, is it? You never know which one's going to turn up. But I expect Fucsovics to go through there comfortably.
Yeah. So have you given your pick?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be tough because, well, you're going somebody who's even got to get through the first round, really.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it, though. I think Krajinovic has got the ability.
So you're going Krajinovic. I don't know. I don't want to be too boring and pick... but looking at all of the potential people in this tournament, who have I been most impressed by on hard courts? Probably say Bautista Agut, to be honest.
He's in Germany as well, remember?
Oh, yeah. Don't forget Zverev.
You've got the home advantage.
Yeah, that's always... that does sway it a little bit for me as well, because Zverev's so good in front of us.
Come on, Ben. We need an answer.
Well, I'm going to go with Bautista Agut, just because I think that he has such solid form. If he just continues solid, people can just fall by the wayside if he plays his top game. So I'm just hoping that he can brush past Fucsovics. Not going to be too easy, but then he could potentially face... I think he could take out Hurkacz or Millman, and then you could be looking at maybe Felix. I think he could take him out as well.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I think maybe Fucsovics could take him out, though, as a bit of an upset. But that's why I went against it. But I would like to see a good win, obviously, repping the Spanish flag. So fits with the narrative. But anyway, let's move on to the next one because we've got another two to get through.
Yes, we do indeed. Let me bring up the draw of this rather than going down the list like I did on the first one. And this one is in...
I'll bring up some of the matchups.
This one is in Sardinia. This one. So you got some, and this one I believe is clay court. Yeah, it's clay court tournament. This one, and some, very familiar clay court players that you're going to be seeing in this tournament.
Well, for me, the one who stands out big time is Musetti. Musetti is going to be back, and he's playing Pablo Cuevas. He got a wild card into the tournament. Quite big, actually, really, but I can understand why he's getting a wild card. He's going to bring out crowds, and he's an exciting young player. And personally, I think he's going to beat Cuevas. Obviously, Cuevas is the 8th seed. We know how good he can be on clay. But Musetti's just been exceptional of late.
Yeah, I mean, should we look down these or start at the top? Obviously, Fanini is a bye through the first round.
Yeah, he's the number 1 seed.
And then we've got, this is a really interesting one, Correa versus Kobayas Baena as a first round match.
To be honest, mate, whoever wins that, I think they're probably going to knock out Fanini. He's not looking great at the moment, obviously coming back from that injury. The only thing he's got in his favour really is that it's in Sardinia, and you'd fancy the home advantage maybe to give him a bit of an extra push.
Yeah, then we got Del Bonis Seppi. That's a good one. I expect Del
Mate,
Bonis.
Seppi must be about 40 years old.
Yeah, you know. And then we've got Andujar and Kovalik. That's I expect Andujar to probably go through there. TFO, he's yet to finish his last tournament, if I believe. He still has a final to play against Salvatore Caruso on Monday, but it might have even commenced by the time this comes out. Yeah, so he's going to be, I'm not sure how he's working this. So he's playing a final and then moving over to another tournament, maybe the same day or the next day or in the
Where
evening.
is this final?
It's still in Italy, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it's in Parma, so that makes sense. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. He's got the final at 9 a.m. against Caruso in the Challengers, and then he's playing.
What time's the other one? It says this one's 9 a.m. as well, though. So how's that?
No, that's not right.
Is it
no,
the
that's
next
the 13th then?
Oh yeah, it's the next day. Okay, so
that's Tuesday. So he's only got, to be fair, he's not got any rest. He'll be playing the final, and then the next day he's straight in it at Sardinia. Obviously, this is a bit of a step up, being I think it's an ATP 250.
Yeah, this is definitely a step up from the challenger that he's in the final of. But we've got some, well, like you said, very exciting matches in this one. Gianluca Mega there against Cecchinato.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Andrej Martin, who's actually a lucky loser, which is surprising. He's come up against Tommy Paul. Got like you were speaking about, Lorenzo Musetti. That's going to be really exciting. I reckon he could do, like you said, he could take out Cuevas, the 8th seed, straight away.
Yeah, and then you got the other finalist there, Caruso. Is that right?
Yeah. So Caruso, they were going to get a taxi together over from Parma.
I'll make a prediction now. Whoever wins that final, they're going to be going out in this next one straight away. The next day, I can guarantee. I know they're going to be going out. It seems to be the curse of winning the tournament. You seem to always go out the next tournament you play in the first round. And the thing with that is, it's going to be a case of no rest, really, going straight into it from there after traveling.
Yeah.
You never know. They could still do it, but that's my prediction. Yeah, Zeppieri as well. Really exciting young Italian player. They've got so many of them.
Yeah.
And funny enough, he's playing against one of them, Sonego. Obviously, Sonego's a slightly more experienced.
Definitely.
He's in the top 40. I think he's like 40th in the world. So you'd fancy Sonego to win that, but I think Zeppieri could trouble him. He's a guy me and you have followed quite a bit because we enjoy watching him on the Challenger Tour.
Yeah, for sure. Very good player. Really, really promising prospect from Italy there. And then we obviously got down there a bit more of an old school player, Yuri Vesely. And I'd expect him to probably come through that one against Matchrat.
Yeah,
that's the right pronunciation. We got Summit Nagal, who qualified. I think he beat Andre Martin as well in the qualification.
He did. Yeah, he had some tricky matches, but he come through and was really impressive. And we know how good he can be.
He actually played.
You always call him, didn't you? The Indian Nadal.
Yeah, the Indian Nadal. Yeah, he's not quite at that level yet, is he? But he came up against Laszlo Djere, I believe, last week as well. I think they played in a tournament last week, and I think Djere just pipped him in 3. But very, very close match that's going to be again. And we could see an all-Serbian next round there. Dusan Lajovic waiting in the wings for whoever wins that one.
Yeah, not ideal, is it? To be facing him.
I reckon, I don't even want to ask for a pick. I reckon this guy is probably my pick. This one here. I reckon.
Yeah, well, we've got the same pick, man. That's my one as well. So we've both gone for the same guy, Casper Ruud. Do we have to give a reason why? I think it's just because he is that good and we know how well he's been playing. He just seems to be a level up right now than a lot of these other guys there.
Yeah, for sure. It looks so good in the French. So that's the main reason that I'm going to pick him. I think that he really looked like he was growing as a player in that tournament and showed.
And not just that, he's had a bit of rest now as well, right? Obviously, crushed out. I think team beat him in, was it 5 sets?
Let me just double check that. We've got to fact check these things, haven't we? Otherwise, we'll get ourselves in trouble. Let me get rid of that. And then we can just go on to here. So... But yeah, he looked so impressive that whole tournament that I just think...
I know what round he went out. He's had enough time now, maybe a week or so, maybe like 10 days. He's had time to sort of regroup and get ready for this match.
straight sets to Dominic Thiem. That was
Straight
it.
sets.
But that was when it just Dominic Thiem just sort of turned it on, didn't he? That was with his last bit of energy within the tournament, I think. Dominic Thiem.
Yeah.
And they were playing under a closed roof for that match as well. I don't know if that pays any difference to the result, but he looked good in that first set, and he was the better player for 2 sets against Dominic Thiem. So I think there's no Dominic Thiem in this tournament. So that's
also he's a Rafa Academy prospect, and we know how well that's been doing for Rafael Nadal right now. So if he's got an ounce of that, I think he's going to be okay in this tournament.
Hopefully he's got a little bit more than an ounce, and then he can get all the way to that final. But yeah, so that's our pick for that one, and that's Sardinia. We got last up St.
So much tennis, mate. All this tennis, all happening at once.
St. Petersburg next as well. So we got St. Petersburg indoor hardcourt tournament again, and I'll try and bring up the draw for this one as well. There's some very familiar names. I'm sure you'll recognise here.
Well,
obviously.
I'll take it from the top because I've got it here. It's Daniel Medvedev. He's the first seed, the number 1. Yeah, he's got a tricky one though to start off with. You've got it up there, Gasquet.
Yeah, that's never easy.
Gasquet, funny enough, he's the youngest player ever to win multiple challenger titles. Just a little statistic there. And do you know who the second is?
No.
Rafael Nadal.
Cool.
And there's a few other names there. And guess who's just joined that list today? Alcaraz Garcia.
Wow.
The 17-year-old, he's just joined the list with another challenger title today. This time was it Barcelona, I believe?
Barcelona, yeah.
Yeah, so he's joined a list of top players. I think even Bernard Tomic is on this list. So
wow, yeah.
It's not done yet, but he burst onto the scene, didn't he?
Yeah, he was really good, Tomic, when he burst onto the scene. I'm not sure what happened. There was he obviously became a very controversial figure on court, and it was very outspoken, and his antics on the court were not.
It gives up, doesn't it, at times?
People don't perceive it as very good sportsman-like behaviour, the way he behaved on court, and he ruffled a lot of feathers. I know that Dan Evans, it was one of his most hated players to play, wasn't it? I think they really had a lot of beef with each other. So, yeah, he's just one person, probably didn't realise his full potential. But
it's funny enough, Gasquet was he was the guy coming through. He won 2 multiple challenger titles before any other player ever in the history book. So
wow,
he had a lot of promise, and that's why we need to be careful with Carlos Alcaraz Garcia, not to get too carried away. For me, I just think he's a different breed. I know I'm going to get carried away after just saying that statement, but for me, he just seems so good. But maybe Gasquet was like that too. I don't actually remember it too fondly.
Well, Gasquet's always been at the top of he's still there, really. He can still compete with some of the top players on his day, and yeah, he's always been.
Oh, we saw him in the UTS. He was killing it, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he still mixes it with some of the best players. He's still got one of the best backhands on tour. So when that's firing, he's always a danger to anybody. But it's just about, and as it's sort of common knowledge, I keep bringing it up, he just seems to start playing better when he's losing, though. And it just would be nice to see if him play from the off, start attacking the ball more when he's winning, rather than when he's losing. When he's losing, it's always a little bit too little too late sometimes. So yeah, it'd be nice to see how Gasquet gets on against Medvedev, because Medvedev, you never know, might still be a little bit shaky after losing in Roland Garros, but I doubt it. I'm guessing Medvedev's going to clear up here. He's in Russia. Opelka there against,
and it's on hard, I believe, as well. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, so I would expect Medvedev to go through that. Opelka, I'd expect to go through his first round match. This one, interesting. Emilio Gomez, Safulin.
Yeah, the Russian guy.
Not sure.
He's a good player. He's a good player for sure. Not been seeing much of him of late, so I'll have to check that out and see how he gets on.
Is this Feliciano Lopez?
Yeah,
against Borna Choric. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, this is a very stacked field in St. Petersburg. There's a lot of top players here, and it's going to be super interesting to see how we go. Obviously, there's a name there. We've got Hatchinoff there, really top player. Duckworth, we know how fond the Australian guys are of him.
Yes.
I forget who was it. Was it Chris O'Connell said he's the best player he's ever played against?
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely battered O'Connell, I think, when in one of the first games when they came back, I believe. It might have been him, might have been another one, actually. But I think he said he really struggled against him. No, I think it was Max Purcell he played, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, when he came back, but I think he was rusty. But yeah, when he played Duckworth, he said he's had awkward game. He said you couldn't get used to it, could he? It was really annoying to play, and just that's why he couldn't beat him. But yeah.
Saying that Hatchinoff is kind of like the level up, so you'd expect him to win. Not just that, it's also in Russia as well. So
yes.
I think the Russians are going to have a good tournament. But you got Karatsev there. That's an exciting one. We know how well he's been. He's been winning everything. A bit disappointed he didn't qualify, though, for the French Open.
But it's Korda, though, wasn't it? And Korda had a very good tournament until Rafael Nadal swept him aside. And yeah, we got Mr. Underarm Serve there, Bublik, up against Mackenzie McDonald. So that'd be quite an interesting first round match.
I think it's quite tight.
I expect Bublik to win that, though, to be honest. What about the Wolf? The Wolf's back. He's qualified and he's up against Milos Raonic in the first round. That's not an easy one, is it? God, I don't like that draw for him.
Mate, we could see Raonic back to his best again, obviously, in Cincinnati. I know it seems like ages ago. We've had so much tennis since then, but he was the man.
Yeah.
So dominant. He got to the final, right, against Novak Djokovic.
He did indeed.
And, well, I think he started that. Was he up? I think he won. Did he win the first set, I believe? And then after that, it just crumbled, or he was up a few breaks. He was playing really well anyway, and then just sort of capitulated.
The first, I believe. I think it was the first set. Yeah, it was. He 6-1 in the first. He won.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he just had an incredible tournament. He obviously beat Tsitsipas, Krajinovic, Murray, Dan Evans, and Sam Querrey as well. So, very, very good. He obviously didn't play the French Open, but now we're back on hard courts again. And I'd expect to see him, start where he left off, really. I mean, he lost to Pospisil at the US Open, that all a Canadian affair.
Yeah.
But you'd expect him to take out Wolf, really. And maybe make...
sorry, Ben, you go on.
I was going to say, I expect him to make a good run, maybe, there. If you can see the draw, he'll probably be facing maybe a Hatchanov there in the quarterfinals if they both make it. And you still fancy his chances against him, to be honest. And if that's the case, then they're going to have a Medvedev side of the draw, so he could face a Medvedev semi-final. Yeah. But Medvedev's a different animal in Russia on hard, isn't he?
Yeah. I think it's Medvedev's to lose. But saying that, there's some big names to go down. Obviously, Kecmanovic, we know how good he can be. But the big one I want to talk about down here is obviously Andrei Rublev. Could this be his tournament to win?
Could be.
My only big concern is if he does face Medvedev, I don't really give him a chance. I think Medvedev's in his head.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like he's fully in his head. Like he's just like his younger brother. For
never
me.
Won a set against him, has he?
Yeah.
So it's really tough but Rublev's getting better all the time. You just hope
they played each other, didn't they, in the US Open, and he just blitzed him.
Yeah, it was close first set though, and that was. Yeah. I don't know. You see the gap closing slightly, but he's still yet to get a set. Until he gets a set, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to give Rublev any edge at all. But yeah, he's still got some work to do, but I still could see him going far in this. If you can get past Pospisil, that looks like the tougher match there. And then I reckon you could see him all the way through to like a semi-final maybe.
Well, I don't know. Umbert's quite a tricky player.
I still see him beating him though.
Yeah. I agree, yeah. And then you've got obviously the tie of the round probably with Wawrinka, Dan Evans.
Ooh, that's
very nice. Even, in my opinion.
I like that match.
Yeah, I can't call it at all. I'll be honest. I think Dan Evans, when he turns it on, and I do like his game a lot more on hard, to be honest.
He looks good, doesn't he? Like against some of the best players, he can really mix it with like the best single-handed backhand players. And yeah, we've seen him. He's done well. He beat Rublev, didn't he, in one of their recent matches? So it just shows the level that Dan Evans is at. So
yeah, we've got Donskoy there, obviously a fan of the podcast, a guy we've had on.
Hey, Donskoy.
I'll be cheering him on. I hope he can get through Gerasimov. It's going to be a big ask.
It's a toughie, isn't it? It's not an easy
I'm glad
start.
he got a wild card though. He deserves it. He's a really nice bloke, and I enjoyed talking to him. And I wish him well.
And then we've got Ivashka Manarino, and then, down here, this is no easy start for Dennis either, is it? Shapovalov up against Sam Querrey. And queries, well, you just never know which one's going to go. Gave Rublev a tough test, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the last match he probably played and nearly knocked Rublev out in straight sets. But Rublev, being the fighter he is, came back to win in 5. But Dennis, I'd expect Dennis to go through this. And if Dennis could make a good run here, I think if he plays his top tennis, he could easily make
He could get a Wawrinka Evans. He would get a Wawrinka Evans in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, possibly. But I still can see him going past that. I could see him making a semi, really, to be honest.
Yeah, and then he's got Rublev as well, lurking around. It's
Yeah.
certainly not going to be. There's a lot of good players in this tournament this year, so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win.
You're going for
now to go for your pick. You can go first this time.
Oh God, it's just going to be boring if I say Medvedev. Though I think I'm going to try something a bit different. I'm going to rely on Medvedev, maybe still being a little bit rusty, and I'm going to say Raonic.
It's the same as mine.
I'm going to say Raonic.
Yeah, knew it.
What is that? Who you're going to say?
Yeah,
okay,
that's my one.
I won't say Raonic then. I won't say Raonic. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go for someone different. If you're Raonic, I'm going to say Karen Khachanov.
Okay.
And I think because he's in Russia, he might be able to turn it on and actually, well, maybe cause an upset on some of his fellow Russians because everyone's looking at Rublev, everyone's looking at Medvedev. He might sneak through the middle.
Hey, I think that's a really good pick, and he could well do it. But I'm going to stick with my one that I picked out beginning, and that's going to be Raonic.
Wise.
If he can play the same way he did in the Western and Southern Open, I don't think anyone can stop him. And when his serves are firing on that hard court, players are going to be struggling to adapt. There's players who have been playing on clay recently. The schedule's not quite there. But one thing what we do know is if you've got a big serve and you consistently can get them in, that's something you can't take away from him. So for me, I think that's going to basically award him a lot of free points in this in the matches he plays, and ultimately give him that little bit advantage in closer matches.
We will see. It's very exciting stuff. Anyway, can't wait to see how all our selections get on. And it's exciting week of tennis ahead. I'm obviously off on holiday. Just got to pop over to see my girlfriend's family over in Bulgaria, and I'll be back Monday week. I might be able to do a sneaky one on some hotel Wi-Fi midweek podcast if we can manage to get a good Wi-Fi connection to be able to do it. But if not, I'm sure JG will maybe either give you an update or update you with all the results beginning of next week.
Yeah, we're not going to do as many podcasts what we've been doing for over the last few weeks. We'll have a little bit of a break. I think we deserve one.
Damn right.
But we will maybe try and bring you a podcast maybe Thursday now. And then obviously if we don't binge back Monday, we'll do one for sure. And then we can go through and see how wrong we was, like we are every single other tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I hope you have a good holiday, mate.
Cheers, buddy. And then, thanks everybody who's obviously subscribed and liked all the videos and giving us all the support over this French Open period. But looking forward to some more cracking action, and I'll see you on the next one, I guess.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. And we'll see you soon. Peace.